Welcome into the Rookie Mistakes Podcast. I am your host, Trades for Days, your commish of the two Dynasty leagues. This is going to be a post for both leagues because it refers to both of them. So I'm going to make this video basically to make up for some of the ones that I've missed. I said I was going to do it. I'm going to try to uphold myself to that. Basically just going to cover some of the rule changes that I'm throwing out there. I'm going to try to throw them out there to both leagues. Both can vote. You know, it's not one or the other. I'll send them out for both leagues, and we can all kind of vote on it and see what each league prefers. Doing with, like in major mistakes, I did some today. I'll do some later on with big mistakes. Obviously the draft, I think, I'm going to try to put the two rookie drafts at two different times so we have a little space in between because a lot of you are in both of them. So we'll go that route. But one of the changes that we've recommended that I've sent out was the rookie draft change. The way you land in the standings. One of the options was how we currently do it, which is the NFL standard, where, based on playoffs, that's where you land, and as well as your record. And then the bottom four teams that didn't make playoffs, they go strictly by record. And major mistakes and big mistakes, we said that we're going to do a randomizer for the bottom four teams. And then, so we've already done that. So this year is already set in stone. We've already done that. We're doing voting for the 2026 season, so we can go ahead after this one and move towards the new recommended way. And the other option, other than the NFL standard way, which I personally like, that somebody mentioned that they've done it in their league and they like it, is the combined points total. So it's like your entire roster for 14 weeks, the combined points, whatever that is going to be, the lowest amount of points is going to get the first pick, and the highest is going to get either the 11th or 12th pick, depending on who the champion is. Obviously, if the champion also was the highest amount of points for the season, they're automatically set at 12. But if the highest points doesn't win the championship, the champion of the league for that season is going to be there at 12. And then the highest points scored is going to be 11. So that's the other option, which I prefer because I think that does give the worst team the best pick. And if we were to do that, I don't think we should do the randomizer because that doesn't really, it just kind of offsets the reasoning for doing it at that point. Not entirely, but it does kind of combat the worst team getting the best pick, in my opinion. But if that's something everyone wants to put to a vote as well, let me know. We can add that. But again, I personally don't like doing a randomizer. If you're going to just go with the bottom team getting the best pick, you might as well do it that way. And that also saves me from having to do a bunch of extra stuff. But I'm willing to do it if that's what everybody wants. You feel me, dig, So I know that was one of the things we put to a poll. The other thing we put to a poll was the draft style, how we do it. Typically, we do the snake draft, where it goes from first to last, and the next round starts with the 12th pick down to the first. The third round would go back to the first to the last. Like, it's just your typical snake drafts, how we do it everywhere. That's how we currently do it. That's how it's currently set. But somebody mentioned that you should also do just the NFL way, which is the worst team gets the first pick. Obviously, the last team gets the best. And then the next round, it does it all over again. The worst team gets the first pick. The best team gets the last pick. And then the third round, the exact same. I mean, it's just like that. That's how the NFL does it, and that's also a way I think it should go. I didn't realize that was something that I don't know. I didn't really think that through, like that should be the standard. I've just always done how the app, the sleeper app, I've always set it how it was originally done to their standard, but I didn't think that it would be, obviously, if you're doing a Dynasty, new to Dynasty, right, last year, so we're still trying to buff it out. But yeah, I do agree that maybe doing it that way is the better way instead of the snake. Now, not everybody's going to agree with me, and that's fine. If we want to stick it with the same, I'm fine with that too. Let's work on my part. I don't care. And then the other thing we were thinking about is the auto sub. I personally, not a fan, but I'm not against it by any means. I mean, if that's what everyone wants, that's definitely how we'll do it. But I think it just takes a little bit of the fun, a little bit of the risk out of it. I've always liked seeing that I'm going up against a guy with 2 questionable players going into game time. Obviously, sometimes I'm that guy, and that sucks. But I do always try to make the best decision and just go into my bench and make sure I don't have to risk it. And sometimes I do risk it, depending on how good that player is. But that's a decision I think I have to make. And, you know, I like how we do it in that aspect. I don't like doing the auto sub, but for those of you that don't know what an auto sub is, it's basically, you can go in there and read on it, but it gives you an option to put a player, if you have a questionable player in your starting lineup, you can go in and put an auto sub, which is somebody from off your bench that will automatically substitute in your starting lineup if that guy is out come game time. Even if the game has started and he's in your starting lineup, the app will automatically switch it to the other player. So it kind of takes that risk away from it. And that's fine if that's what everyone wants to do. I get the idea behind it. I get the reasoning that people would want it. No, I'm not against it by any means. It's not personally for me, but I'll do it if that's what the league wants. I'll do anything the league wants. And then Pedro's over here rejecting my trades right now, so that's pretty upsetting. Could have had something special there. Could have had something special, but it is what it is. Then if there's anybody out there that wants to send in the group some different changes they want to make to into our leagues, send it to the group. I'll look it over. I'll put it in if it's passionate enough that you want to make a change and you think it would better the league, I am all for it. Just put it out there. I'll put it in there, and we'll take it to vote. Yes, there is times people are going to shit on your idea or shit on your deal. I don't care. I'm not shitting on anybody's idea because a lot of my ideas are freaking stupid. Pedro, stop rejecting my trades, man. Counter with something, brother. Come on now. No, it's all good. He just keeps going. How many trades did I have out to you? My Lord. Also want to go over some of the players in this coming draft and talk about the draft a little bit. April 24th, I believe, is the NFL draft. I want to do the major mistakes draft the week after. So probably that Friday afternoon or Saturday sometime. I'd have to look up the dates on that, just throwing that around. And then we'll do the next league the next week. I don't care if it's a Monday. I mean, just that next week. Give some time, a break between some people. Because remember, there is several people that are in both leagues, and you have to pay for both leagues before you go into it. So it kind of puts you in that spot like, man, do I really want to pay for 2 leagues back-to-back that quick? No, I get it. So I want to give a little bit of a leeway there, if possible. But I'm not against. I mean, we'll talk about draft dates later. I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of something for those that are being tuned out. I know we still have a lot of time. We have like 6 weeks before the NFL draft. There's still time. But for just kind of a reminder of what's going on, there's a lot of players in this draft that I like. Contrary to what other people are saying, if you listen to all the podcasts or the analysts talking about it, I'm constantly listening to everything from everybody. I literally drive all day at work and have YouTube videos of everybody talking about the draft, where you should pick these players, where they go, where their profiles put them. And I'm sorry, I'm very high on this draft. It might not be like last year's draft, but statistically speaking, this is going to be one of the better drafts you'll see. And everyone's going to be like, what? Last year's was the absolute best. Yes, last year's was so hyped because of the QBs that were coming in and the generational wide receivers that you were projecting. So that's what put it up so high. And that's going to be hard to beat. I will not lie. I'm not going to overstep it. But overall, the talent that's in this 2025 draft, statistically speaking, this will rank up at the very top. Why? Because there is so many running backs in this draft that will take over the NFL. Projectively speaking. It all obviously depends on where they land and, how high they're drafted, and those, just look at how all the contracts have been going in to this offseason. All these running backs, these pretty good running backs that are like 26, 27-ish, they're getting one-year deals. And that's because there's a lot of running backs in this current draft that are high profile, that are probably going to these teams, as well as tight ends. There's like 5 or 6 tight ends in this draft that people are already ranking in the top 25 in Dynasty. There's also up to 5 or 6 receivers that are somewhat highly looked at. I wouldn't say high compared to last year's, obviously. There's probably 3 or 4, depending, again, it depends on where they get drafted and everything else. And there's probably 2 or 3 quarterbacks that are solid options. One, in my opinion, very high. 2 or 3 of the others, somewhat mid-tier. And then, the QBs, tight ends, you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm stepping. I'll kind of go into some of this and break it down, because I'm telling you, I've taken in so much freaking data on this draft because I got so many picks in it, obviously. And the major mistakes draft, I've got like 6 or 7 of the first rounders. So I got quite a bit. I got like quite a bit going into this draft, and I'm high on it. So, I'm only saying this because if you are not high on this draft, and that's fine if you're not, please put in your picks as options to be traded. Like, make it known that you're not very crazy about it, because I will do everything I can to get them, and I know there's a couple others that will as well. So please, give me a chance. I'll gladly take them. I'll take your second and thirds, man. I don't care. I'm out here. I don't got much on my team, obviously. That's why I got so many picks, but I'm pumped. I'm pumped. If you ask anybody that works with me or are around me, like Sheldon, some of these other guys, Tristan, Bryce, they know how freaking excited I am about this draft. So we'll go over some of the players real quick that, if you haven't known, these are some of the guys you're working with. Ashton Genty. There's so, if you look at anything, anywhere, everyone has him as the lone generational player out of this draft. Maybe, depending on what happens with Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter would be 1 or 2 in this draft, depending on if he was to just commit to wide receiver. And I've been seeing both sides. I've been seeing, depending on where he goes, there's a good chance he'll be a full receiver with some, corner, a little bit of corner worked in, and then some places are saying no. I mean, he's got to be a corner. But I've been seeing so many different things after that, the combine. They're saying that he is going to be a receiver. I don't know. It's debate. It's very drastic where he lands, from being a first-round pick to a second-round pick. I mean, if he's getting taken in the second, you're taking a swing at a guy that you think obviously he's going to be a corner, but there might be a chance at some more wide receiver work. I'm excited to see how that goes, because I think he's up there. I mean, he'd be the number 1 or 2 pick in my opinion if he was full wide receiver, but we might not ever know. But Ashton Genty, he's being ranked as a top 5 dynasty running back right out the gate without even knowing where he's landed. He's been talked about being a generational player. A lot of people hate on him because when he's seen competition, he only got 197 yards. That's a knock against Genty. His first competition, per se, was he got 197 yards rushing, broke 16 tackles against a solid defense. Yeah, I'd say Boise State was only in playoffs because of him. First off, let's get that straight. They're not a great defense. They're not a great offense. They had Ashton Genty. Secondly, he broke 16 tackles and 197 yards still. Anybody else do that on a good team? I mean, I'm not going to go into it. I've heard multiple deals, but if you listen to any podcast, any analyst, they all have him as the consensus 101. He is the best player in this draft. He's the guy. I got him. I'm getting him in major mistakes. I'll put that out there now. He's my guy. I'm getting him. Unless I trade that pick away, it's the guy that I'm getting. And I'm only considering trading the pick because I have so many picks. And I'm willing to reconstruct my team if possible. But if not, that's fine. I'm extremely happy with getting Genty. He's already being put right below. There's Bijan, there's Jahmyr Gibbs, and there's Genty in Dynasty. They already have him in the top 3. And, so to say I'm excited about him is an understatement. Next, you got Cam Ward. He's the QB, the number 1 rated QB. Not necessarily everybody's. A lot of people I've been seeing having Sanders above him, which I'd go either way. It's a super flex, so I know that that's important. You got guys like Omarion Hampton, who they have pretty high on there. Tech McMillan is some people's number 1, not mine. I've seen him go at the 102. I've seen him go at the 108, which is, in my opinion, the 108 is a little low. I think the worst is 106 that he would go. I personally think he's going 102 in ours, just based on talks. I assume, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. He's not my 101, and I'd have the 106, the 104, and I have my eyes on another guy. So I'm kind of hyped about this. Hampton is looked at the running back 2. Henderson 103. Luther Burden is up there. I've been seeing Buka. He's another receiver. He's usually anywhere ranked from like 1 to 5. I mean, it's just so wide. There's such a wide range. And of course, the draft could change all this. But just from all the things I've seen, I mean, I've seen so many people's draft. And then some of them I'm like, I will never watch you again because of how idiotic I think some of your rankings are on these players. I mean, Matthew Golden is another guy that has been thrown up there. He's a receiver out of Texas. They've thrown him in the top 2 in some drafts. I don't get it. I don't think he's up there. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, with his speed, he could be up there easily, depending on where he goes. Quinshon Judkins is another running back. Caleb Johnson. There's so many good running backs in this draft. Devin Neal, Ollie Gordon from OSU. I know that'll probably, in our particular league, might bring him up a little bit, just based out of being an Oklahoma guy. I might be wrong. A lot of people have him falling way down. Not sure why. I mean, probably because of his combine, but Samson Scadaboo is a guy that's climbing. They compare him to like a CMC, obviously not that type of prospect, but comparatively speaking, how he plays, how he looks, how he performs, like things that he does is very CMC-like. I mean, we're going to take it easy here. I'm not saying he's CMC. I'm just saying that there's a lot of similarities. He won't be a CMC. I could probably go ahead and scratch that. But I'm hopeful. The guy looks good. He's in a spot where I don't think I'm going to be able to draft him. Based on where I have him ranked right now. Some of the tight ends that are going in this draft, I think there's like 5 that I'm really high on. Probably 6 or 7 that I'm thinking are if they don't for some reason get drafted in the first 3 rounds, I'm definitely going to try to get them on my team. A lot of people's consensus #1 tight end is that Tyler Warren out of Penn. I have him pretty high. I don't know if he's an older prospect. I think he's 23. He'll probably be 24 going into the NFL season. Colston Loveland's up there. He's the 1 or 2. This is just what I'm seeing. Guys like Arroyo, the tight end. I think he's out of Miami. He's pretty good. Harold Fannin out of not Boston College. Fannin out of freaking. It's not gonna pull up. Bowling Green. That's what it was. He's a freak athlete. That dude is a freaking monster. We got guys like Mason Taylor, Jason Taylor's son. He's going to be a pretty good prospect. And then you got that Ferguson out of Oregon. Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon. He's going to be a sleeper. His combine was great. Best tight end at the combine, statistically speaking. But yeah, I mean, there's some guys. Gunnar Helm out of Texas. He's a sleeper. I mean, there's so many. There's a lot of talent here. I'm at like 17 or 18 guys that I would legit take in the first round. And I got a lot of picks, so I've got a lot of decisions to really make. But yeah. Other quarterbacks outside of Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders, there's Jackson Dart is in this one. Jalen Milroe, Quentin Ewers. I'm not very high on Quentin Ewers, I'll be honest. Just some of the passes I've seen at the combine, some of the things that I'm hearing, it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of iffy about it. Will Howard's in there. National championship Will Howard. Dylan Gabriel's in this one. And a lot of these other guys I'm not really sure on. But yeah, I mean, I know that I didn't really break a whole lot down. I think a lot more is going to be needed from the actual NFL draft to really break a lot more of this down. Just kind of bringing everybody, like reeling everybody back in for a little bit to talk about the draft and some options and give a little bit of a breakdown on what's going down in the rookie picks. And again, if you are out on this draft, please tell me, because I'm in it. I will do whatever I got to do to get some more picks out of everybody. Of course, I can't roster that many, being that I've already almost got a full team of draft picks here. But I'll work something out. I'll figure something out everywhere I go, everything I do, you dig? I do appreciate you guys being in the league. In any case, if anybody is wanting out of the league, please let me know soon, or ASAP, as soon as you possibly can. I hope nobody wants out. I hope there's a lot to like about these two dynasties. But if you are legit like, nah, I can't, I don't know, it's too much. Given it was the year one, so there is a lot that changed in different views now that you've played a year in it. And I hope, I'm hearing a lot of good stuff from everybody. I think everybody's really into it and really liking it and looking to be in more, you know. But it won't be hard for me to find somebody to jump in. I know that, so don't feel pressure like I don't want to hurt the league. We'll figure something out. So if you want out, let me know. We will find somebody to replace you. I'm not hearing that from anybody, but I'm just curious. Just make sure that we're all good, happy, and continuing on this trajectory of making some pretty good dynasty leagues. I say a lot. I do apologize. I'm working on it. Not really. I haven't been working on much. But I do appreciate you guys, and hope to hear from you guys soon. Please go vote in the polls. That's in major mistakes right now. I will do big mistakes here pretty soon. I've just been kind of working on one league and then going after the other afterwards, because we did start major mistakes first, and it's kind of like, I don't know. Either way, I'm pretty happy. I hope you guys are as well. Have a great off season, and we will see you guys again in probably a couple months. Hopefully sooner than that, obviously, in like a month or so with month and a half with, our drafts, but to the actual coming season. We'll see you guys in a couple months. See ya.